Hey astronauts, it's me, Brandy, and welcome back to Astro-Tarot Research. So we have another great pick a card for you guys today, and this week's pick a card is, what do people like best about you? That's right, we'll be uncovering what people believe to be your best traits. And as usual, we have 5 piles to choose from, but before we get started, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to be notified of the latest readings. You can also follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research, where I post some astrological findings and some tarot findings. I gotta remember to update that page because I've learned a whole bunch of more stuff I want to share with you guys. And you can check out my astrology channel. All of those links should be in this description box below. Now let us jump into these piles. We have pile number 1. We have pile number 2. We have pile number 3. We have pile number 4, and we have pile number 5. So let's not waste any more time and just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey guys, if you've chosen pile number 1, let's see what other people believe your best qualities to be, or what people like best about you. Basically, same thing. So we have the 7 of Cups, the Empress. We have the Page of Cups. We have the 7 of Wands, the 7 of Swords, and the Sun. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. So many 7s. Usually I get 7s when we have a lot of them. Numerology wise, 7s become about being reflective and thinking and spending a lot of time, I guess, just being in your thoughts, as well as has to do with being receptive towards criticism, opinions, whether that's your own or someone else's. So I think what people will really like about you is you take your time thinking before you either act or speak or, go into something, as well as it seems like you plan ahead. And 7s I can also get for people spending a good amount of time by themselves, hence where we got this lone wolf card with the 7 of Swords, and also with the 7 of Wands. This person is the only one defending themselves, right? They're standing up for themselves. They're defending their territory here. So people like that you could stand alone, that you're independent, and they like that you are able to improve on yourself and take in others' opinions where you need, where they may feel you need improvement, or give you suggestions. I don't know if improvement's the best word, but basically you are receptive towards other people's thoughts and opinions. So people will like that about you, as well as they feel like you may personally give good advice as well. Another thing that we have with this 7 of energy is that when it comes to 7s, I have seen a lot of them having to navigate social situations in a way that brings more harmony to people than chaos, or just trying to, it's not an energy that's like trying to rattle things up. It's trying to make sure things don't get too, wild and crazy, and as well as it's making sure that they stay in a position where they are moving forward. I hope that makes sense. Basically, what people like about you is you're not trying to come in and butt heads with everyone. You seem to be very friendly. They like that you will sort of like fight to keep the peace, or you will avoid any sort of conflict if you feel that it's just really unnecessary. You know when to fold, okay? They're like, okay, well, you're not here to just like battle opinions for no reason, because sometimes this card can come up to be like, okay, this person is fighting for their beliefs, or they may come off like aggressive to others if they're really passionate about what they believe in, and people will see that you will for the most part, you don't feel the need to just be boisterous about your opinions all the time. Okay, so that's what I get, especially with the Empress energy here. So another thing that people like about you will definitely be your creativity. And I often get the Empress card to be someone who's just like happy and comfortable within themselves. So you give off that vibe that you really are comfortable within yourself. You have a sense of maturity about you. And you are very much just your own person. Like, you're not trying to mimic and copy others. You're not someone who feels like, well, people don't see you as being super insecure, because none of these cards come off very insecure. In fact, we have the Sun card here, and the Sun card rules a sense of like ego and confidence. Now, not always. If there were other cards around, then I would say, okay, maybe this person might be a little insecure, but these cards here radiate more confidence. So people will see you as being very confident. Even if you don't see yourself that way, people are definitely perceiving you that way, especially with the Seven of Wands energy. Seven of Wands is definitely a person who has a more confident energy about them. And then also we get the Sun card to represent humor. So there is a playfulness, especially since it is near this Page of Cups. Page of Cups is somebody who's always trying to make a friendly offering to someone, always trying to talk to people, always willing to meet new people and to learn. There can also be a sense of inquisitiveness about you. And then another thing here with the Sun card is people may see you as authoritative, especially with the Empress combination here. It puts you in a position where people can look up to you, or they feel that you may be inspiring in some way, or they even may just feel like you're very accomplished, because the Empress and the Sun coming together can be somebody who's very career oriented, especially in astrology. When you have Sun and Venus coming together, most of the time I've seen people just be very, very ambitious and be wanting to have a partner as well to be very successful. So that's just something commonplace that I've seen. So they may even see you as somebody who picks respectable people to be around, whether that's friendships, whether that's loved ones, or maybe, or, you know, or romantic partners. People just see you that way. Another thing that people will admire about you is not for some reason, people will see you as more open-minded, especially with the Seven of Cups energy. They think that you have a very active imagination and you're open to seeing the possibilities within something. So people love that you're able to take an idea and see the full potential of where it can go. And not only that, but bring it into its tangible form. It seems to people you come off very like strong, ambitious. And by strong, I mean someone who can do things on their own. That's like the main thing here. Independence is very strong with this placement here, especially with all the sevens. Sevens are definitely an energy that's like, I'm alone, okay? So people really, really like that independence about you, and they really find that admirable. But yeah, for the most part, people really, really love these qualities. They love that you maybe balance femininity and masculinity, especially when we have this Venus and Sun combination here. Another thing with Venusian energy with the Empress is Venusian energy is somebody who can be mature very quickly, especially like at a younger age. They can also be someone who may get isolated a lot for their opinions. And with the Sun card here, it has to do with goodness and morality. So I've seen a lot of people Sun people preach about being good people, or teaching their children morals, or having them know the difference between like right and wrong. Like it just becomes like super important. Or even having some sort of like a concept of a spiritual higher power. I've seen that with a lot of Sun rule cards, Sun rule people. I don't see too many Sun rule people, or just people who have a lot of strong Sun placements in their chart, being atheists or having like a lack of belief. Like usually sun rule people will have some sort of spiritual or religious belief behind them. So people may feel like you have a strong sense of faith or spirituality. And that will be another thing that draws people. And another thing that with the sun energy is that it's like very nourishing, especially with the Empress here. So not only do they see you looking out for yourself and bettering your own life and pushing your creative ideas out there, or even just being ambitious or accomplishing what you need to, they also see you encouraging that in others. That is what the sun does, and that is what the Empress. I mean, think of all the things under the sun that, you know, what would we do without sunlight, right? It'd just be a really dark world, literally, right? So encouraging others, as well as being able to nurture others and work with people and keep the peace. Okay, so people see that, but also you will state, like if it's necessary, you will state something. You will state your beliefs that if they need to be said. If you feel like somebody's crossed a boundary, you'll say, hey, you know, that's enough of that. And as well as with Venusian energy, you get someone who will stick up for other people, and a strong emphasis on being able to create beautiful aesthetics. So people may compliment you on some sort of aesthetic thing, whether that's how you dress yourself, your makeup, or your artistic work if you're an artist, or just generally if you're into home decorating or having a nice environment. Like they may say you smell nice. They may say, oh, I like how you arranged your furniture. I like your wallpaper. Venusian energy is very much like about the aesthetics. So there is that, okay? So that is what I wanted to say for you, pal. Number one, there's a lot of great qualities that people like in you. And feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram. And I will see you next video. Au revoir. Hey, pal number two, let's get started on your reading and see what people like best about you. We have the Four of Wands. We have the Magician. We have the Ten of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Queen of Cups, and we have Virgo. I analyze. So that's pretty straightforward with that Virgo energy here. Okay, so we have these two cards representing this big happy family thing going on, and also both of these cards can represent home as well as having like being surrounded by loved ones. So either people will like that you're family oriented, they'll feel like either you're really involved in your community, or it could just be like that they feel like with you, it kind of feels like comfortable, like you're at home, like you're a good friend, like you are just part of the group, the inside, like you just make people feel comfortable. Okay, so people will like being around you. Your energy just comes off very celebratory and very comfortable. Okay, so they're just like, wow, being around this person just feels nice. It's positive energy. It's just very like, let's have some fun, let's relax, let's have a good time. Another thing I get with the Ten of Pentacles, I usually get this card to represent either somebody has some very long-term goals and they know exactly what it is that they are looking for, and they definitely go after it. So people will like that about you. It seems like you're on the right track when it comes to accomplishing whatever it is that you are trying to accomplish. Another thing that these two cards can bring, I don't know if you host parties, I don't know if you bring people together, invite people out, if you're the one organizing vacations, meetups, groups, and etc. But these two cards would definitely indicate that. But like whatever it is, it gives me the energy either you are the life of the party, or people just feel like you would just be really great at a party, if that makes sense. The Magician card here, there's a lot to go in with the Magician, so let me just concentrate for a second and look at these surrounding cards. Okay, so the main thing that we're going to get here with the Magician card is, I don't know if you're a woman, but these two cards together would kind of be like you're for like female empowerment. That's just one of the things. Mercurial energy is an energy which is about experiencing the full potential of your creative power, or just your general power as it is on earth. And it is about empowering other people as well. And I'm pretty sure statistically it has shown that women more so than men, and this is not like bashing men, this is just like me stating a fact, but women statistically more than men will usually empower others. So that's why a lot of mercurial energy, which has to do with just experiencing your full potential and power, relates a lot to feminine energy, if that makes sense. So when I get these two cards together, it can become about like empowering women. I'm trying to like take you through where my mind is going. It's a lot of studies and research and all that stuff, but like I'm not going to get into a whole video on it, maybe someday. So if that relates to you in some way, then that's what it's trying to say here. Another thing with the Magician is obviously the most obvious. The most obvious explanation is people will like your intelligence, and we do have that Virgo I analyze, and obviously Mercury rules over Virgo. So people will like that you are observant, and you're probably one of the smartest people in the room when you enter the room. Another thing we have with this Magician energy is you may have a specific way of speaking. Sometimes I've seen Mercurial people talk with a lisp. I've seen people have like a very distinct accent. I've seen them have a particular just manner of speaking which people will like. So they may like something about the way you express your voice, or the way that you express your mannerisms, or an accent if you have like an accent in an area that is not common for you. And then another thing that we have with the Magician is its ability to combine all of these creative works and also to make something original. So people will like your sense of originality. With the Queen of Cups and the King and the Knight of Cups, so it's bringing about two different elements. The Knight of Cups will be someone who's a little bit more like expressive, very, very expressive. So they'll like that you can go from this more mature, like maybe more subtle reactions with your emotions and a little bit more controlled, to somebody who can be like very animated and who can be like very, very expressive. Because the Queen of Cups is not going to be as heart on her sleeve as the Knight of Cups. So there's going to be these moments where you can I guess separate I need to stop saying where you can separate these moments where you need to be on 10 and when you need to dial it back when it comes to expressing your emotions. So it may take people by surprise how excitable you can get sometimes. Another thing is when it comes to expressing those emotions, it obviously brings about this youthfulness within you. Another thing that I get with the Knight of Cups is obviously, and the Queen of Cups, is obviously creative expression. It's pretty hard to miss. And the Queen of Cups is somebody who has the emotional maturity to understand herself as well as to understand others. And it comes from a place from being able to differentiate her emotions from someone else's emotions. That means if someone else is very reactive and maybe they're yelling, they're screaming or crying, it doesn't necessarily mean you start yelling and screaming and crying. The Queen of Cups is a little bit more emotionally mature than that. but it doesn't mean that you don't feel for this person, okay? You're able to separate yourself and say maybe and comfort them. But also if you feel like, if somebody feels like they just need somebody to be there and just, you know, cry with them, hug it out, you're also that person as well. King of Cups, sorry, the Knight of Cups and the Queen of Cups can be very like comforting type of feels to them, okay? And with the Virgo, I analyze, there's a lot of energy when it comes to Virgo. There's just so much. But basically, some of the things that I notice about Virgo energy, it depends on the nakshatra placement. But for the main thing, they like luxury, okay? So there could be this desire for nicer things, or just things that just look and feel nice. It doesn't necessarily have to be the most expensive. Depends on the Virgo energy. Some Virgos may be more prone to like buying a lot of cheaper things. Other Virgos may really like luxury brands, but Virgos tend to like to spend some money. It doesn't necessarily have to be super expensive, but they will be like, oh, that lotion smells really nice, maybe I should buy it. Or they're very generous with their friends and family, like, let me buy this for them, don't even think about it. Like, that's pretty common with Virgo energy. So people may find you generous with the things that you buy, as well as they may like the things that you buy. They may feel like, wow, you have really good taste in etc. Whatever it is that you are interested, whether that is your clothing, whether that is your you know, I don't know if you're into wigs and stuff. They may be like, oh, that's a nice wig, that's a nice outfit, that's a nice perfume, that's a nice cologne, that's a nice, you know, suit, whatever it is that you are buying. I don't know, I'm just thinking of things you put on. It could be tons of different things, you know what I mean? Like purses, which actually, you know, I've seen quite a few Virgos into like bags and purses. I don't know why specifically that, but I've just seen that. So they may like that about you, and I can't not talk about Virgo and talk about fitness. So I don't know if you're into fitness or health or anything like that, but Virgo energy obviously has to deal with health and everything like that. So there could be some admiration towards how you take care of yourself or how cleanly you are. Trying to think of anything else with Virgo energy. You know, a lot of Virgos I know just like to make money. You know what I mean? They're just always trying to figure out a way to make some money from a Vedic perspective. From a Western perspective, it's a little bit different. But from a Vedic perspective, a lot of Virgo energy is just like trying to make that money, trying to stack that coin, okay? And very good at it. So people may feel like you're very good at making your money. They may be like, oh, you got this in the bag. You're good at getting these promotions. You're good at making your own job. You're good at starting your own business. You're good at being independent. Another thing about Mercury energy, obviously, it's very like boss energy. So that's another thing. So they may feel like you just have a lot of boss energy. It's like I said, I don't know if you're in a manager position, I don't know if you own your own company, whatever it is, or you have your own independent hobby thing going on where you're the boss in that area of life. But there is a lot of, you know, bossing up energy when it comes to this mercurial thing. And so these are the qualities that people like about you. Last thing, Four of Wands can represent optimism. So people may see you as just being very optimistic as well and trying to look on the sunny side. But, you know, people will like that you notice the small details and all that jazz and etc. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I could let you guys know about Virgo energy that I've come across. There's really nothing that's specific that I could possibly think about other than they're funny. Like, I've seen a lot of funny Virgos. So that's, I don't know if that relates to you. I was doing like this study on like in Vedic astrology. This is just, I just do mini studies all the time. And I was doing things on like clowns and comedy writers and etc. like that. And Vedic astrology, Vedic Virgo, a lot of people who had a big sense of humor, or who people saw as very funny and very like goofy, would be Virgos. So that's another thing, okay? So that is all I have for you guys, and I will see you guys next video. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 3, we're going to find out the quality. Oh, no, right in the middle. Hey, pal number 3, we're going to find out the qualities, traits that people like best about you. We have the Knight of Wands, 7 of Wands, Knight of Swords, the 9 of Cups, the Lovers, and Cancer, I feel. Okay, so this is very interesting because with the Knight of Wands, I get this feeling of someone being very enthusiastic, very like open-minded and friendly. Usually the Knight of Wands is somebody who's just like very blunt, very straightforward. Also just very like welcoming energy, very complimentary. Is the type of person who likes to give compliment boosts to other people, as well as they don't mind, you know, showing off a little of themselves to get a little bit of attention. So people will like that you radiate confidence, as well as you give that power back to other people, especially with the 7 of Wands energy here. I definitely get this card to exude strength and confidence, as well as somebody who is well versed in defending what it is that they believe in and what they stand for, or just like holding fast with their opinion and, you know, coming with a background and good reasons to come to that conclusion of that opinion, okay? With the two knights here, it lets me know that people really like that youthful energy about you. One thing that I get about knight energy that people really enjoy is the ability to learn and to grow, because these are knights and not kings and queens, so they haven't fully matured and grown into their full potential yet. So people will like that you don't seem, you know, kind of like stuck in your ways. You know the saying, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. They kind of feel like with you that you have an ability to encompass and to really bring in and to take in the information that is being given to you. Like, you have an ability to grow and learn from other people as well as your own experiences. Like, you're not someone who comes off as like a know-it-all all the time, okay? Knight of Swords is also going to be someone who's just very blunt. Two characteristics I get from the Knight of Swords is usually someone who may be oversharing or somebody who can undershare. So maybe people find you either you keep the speech short, or maybe they like that you always have like a good story to tell. It really goes either way with the Knight of Swords. It just depends on their mood. Another things that I get with knights is they are cards that like to explore. They like to go on adventures. They like to go places. So there's this energy about you that's just very adventurous. So people will see you as somebody who's willing to try, to go to new places, to do new things, to have new experiences. Like if someone were to say, oh, you want to go to this, I don't know, sip and paint, you're like, yeah, I want to go. I've never been to one of those. Let me go try that. So people like that you're open-minded and willing to try new things. With the Lovers here, I get that to be either you are a very loving person, you're a person who can be very agreeable, because I get the Lovers card to be someone who's balancing their own beliefs as well as others, which kind of goes back into the Knights where you're willing to like learn and understand other people's perspectives. But at the same time, you know where to draw those boundaries and say, hey, no, this is where I believe. And the Lovers card really hones in on agreeableness and union. So people will like that about you, and it doesn't seem like you're trying to rile people up too much, like you're just trying to keep the peace. I always get the Lover's card to mean like something's going like smoothly. Another thing that this can mean from an astrological perspective, because it is connected to Gemini, it can mean that you're very skilled. So someone may like a particular skill that you have, whether that's you being like a good writer, whether that's you being very eloquent with your speech, whether that's being someone who's really just good at particular skill, I don't know, wood making, dancing. There's so many different skills out there that you can be good at. So people will definitely admire you from some sort of specific skill that you have worked hard at and put a lot of effort into, especially with the Lovers here in the Seven of Wands. Another thing with the Seven of Wands is people will like your resilience, okay? So there's a sense of not giving up, not falling back on the pressure, not letting negativity get to you. Like this is someone who likes to keep, they see you as someone who likes to keep a positive headspace, okay? Overall, that's how people are like picturing you. And then you'll stand up for yourself in a way that's not going to be too aggressive, because we do have this cup energy here next to it. So it's like saying, okay, you're standing up for yourself, but you're not being so like pushy about it, okay? And with the Nine of Cups energy, maybe you're somebody who cooks a lot of food, or maybe you're a good cook, or maybe you're somebody who just knows the right places to go and eat and have a good time and to live it up. Maybe they're like, wow, I can always go to this person because they've always got good suggestions when it comes to restaurants, when it comes to bars, when it comes to hangout spots, when it comes to group meetings, when it comes to meeting new people, when it comes to the best food, drinks, wine, whatever. They see you as somebody who just knows how to have a good time and knows how to let their hair down. So definitely like that jokester spirit about you. And I also get the Nine of Cups to be someone who is usually generous with whatever it is that they have to offer. So people will like that sense of generosity coming for you. Now with Cancer here, very interesting when it comes to Cancer, because we have this feeling of being close and being intimate and feeling like they can be open up to you and share their feelings or their secrets. Cancer is definitely that I feel card. I'm trying to think of some people with Cancer like energy. I'm thinking from a Vedic perspective, so my mind is like blinking a little bit, but basically with the sign of Cancer and Vedic astrology, you have people who kind of fully pour and immerse themselves within their emotions. And, you know, there's positives and negatives to that, but what comes from it is they're able to gain a deeper emotional understanding of themselves as well as a loved one. So another thing I've seen with Vedic Cancer, specifically in the placement with Ashlesha, is when they're in a relationship, there's a lot of communication without words and being in sync and sort of like reading each other's body language, which is what I've seen a lot with that placement, as well as I've seen this desire to make people feel special, as well as them wanting to, I don't know, be special to someone, which is a very, you know, normal human emotion to have. I'm trying to think of like some people with the placement, but it really does have to do with looking out for other people who are in similar situations as you and feeling empathy towards them and understanding their perspective and the circumstances that they've gone through, or even just being a listening ear. People may see you as that. there's also this element of wanting to, I guess it's just seeing the humanity in other people. So people will see you as seeing the humanity and that emotional connection with other people, and just being very human, very open and understanding. So those are the things that people will generally like about you. You just come off as having a very beautiful spirit. And I'm trying to think of anything else that I want to add, particularly about the placement. One thing I've noticed about Cancer, sometimes they can like over empathize. Don't you know, when somebody's crying and then they can feel that emotion as well. And then even with the placement Punavarsu, which I've been studying, it's in the Vedic sign of Cancer. It has a lot to do with possession. And I've seen it with Australasia as well. I haven't seen it too much with Pusha, but like those things still fall into Cancer. And with those placements, it's like someone's being possessed in their body. Like you'll see a lot of movies about demonic possession, or just like a ghost possessing them or something like that. And you could take it very literal, but what I've gotten from this is the ability to sort of like take on someone else's emotional burdens and experiences just from a spiritual perspective. That's what the sign of Cancer does. And so people will really feel like they're connected to you. Like this is real, this is intimate, this is deep. So that is something that is a great quality that you have, as well as your intelligence. Okay? So those are all the things that I wanted to say about you guys. Pile number 3, you seem like amazing people. Keep that in mind always, and I will see you next reading. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram, and au revoir. Hey, pile number 4, let's see what other people believe your best characteristics and traits to be. What do they like about you? We have the 7 of Swords, we have Judgment, we have the Queen of Swords, we have the 10 of Cups, we have the Ace of Swords, and we have Chiron, Healing. Okay, so with the 7 of Swords, something that is positive about this card, it is known for being like a little sneaky card, but sometimes it just happens to be like someone's just avoiding a situation that they know is not going to be good for them. So people will like that you know when to, you know, swerve on the drama. They're like, okay, this person stays in their own lane. Okay, so another thing that happens with this is maybe they'll like the fact that you are independent and you're always doing your own thing, away from the crowd. So that's somebody who has a strong sense of individuality. So that comes with those cards. With the Queen of Swords, we have a lot of swords here. So this lets me know that people really value the things that you have to say, your thoughtfulness and your intelligence, and the way that you are able to speak your truth in a manner that is very well versed and well thought of and well spoken. So people just see you as somebody who knows how to get their point across in the best possible manner without being too offensive or without being too like out there, etc. You know, things like that. They don't see you as somebody who is just going to be actively biased, because when we have the swords here, usually swords represent objectivity. So people will like to see you, they see you as somebody who's being, for the most part, very objective and knows how to put their own personal interests aside when they need to. Not that you don't want to, not that you don't look out for number one, but they can see that you have good reasons for when you come to certain thoughts and conclusions, and you're good at explaining it to other people. They can also see you as somebody who's being a very good teacher. Now, when we have Judgment here, one of the number one qualities that I see that is positive about the Judgment card is the ability to forgive and let bygones be bygones. This is somebody who doesn't hold on to the past, especially when we have this Ten of Cups here. You know, another card that represents ending. It's all like, it's all good. It's all said and done. We're leaving all of that mess behind. So, and it also relates to Chiron too, because Chiron, I've noticed when it comes to like transits or important, I guess, perfections, etc. to Chiron, it has to do with letting go of some really painful past memories. Sometimes it can relate to past life, but I found it more, it relates to like childhood upbringing, and people will see that you have grown and you have healed from it, and you don't let the things in your life that have been negative to affect you. You don't carry that heaviness around, and you try to remain in good spirits, especially with this Ten of Cups here. And that can also relate to the Seven of Swords, where it's like running away from, you know, all the madness. Okay, it goes from like that Six of Swords where you're having the blues and you're moving away from this chaos that was the Five of Swords. Now you're this new place where you've landed on this shore, and you're like, I'm ready to start anew. Like, I'm ready to get away from anyone or any situation that just wasn't good for me. So people like that about you, that you're able to cut people off or cut things off or cut habits off that are just not good for you, as well as let go and try to heal from past, you know, traumas and etc. like that, or things that have just upset you and situations that have not been the best. So they see that maturity in you. This is like super straightforward. Another thing that they'll most likely like about you, I think I've said this with either pile number 2 or something like that, or 3, but with swords, we also relate to being able to be very skilled at certain crafts, to be able to be like a master of, you know, any craft or skill you could think of. It could be social media, it could be editing videos, it could be nail art, it could be making corsets, it could be lighting, whatever it is. That sword energy really does have to do with being very skilled and handy, and being someone who can be like a perfectionist, or somebody who could be well read, highly educated. These are things that are very good qualities about the swords. Another thing that I've seen with sword energy is the ability to be very diverse, and to kind of mix and mash different elements of creativity and bring it together to form their own. So less, you know, copycat energy, and more trying to form their own creative lane for them to express themselves. So people may see you as somebody who knows how to do their own thing and express themselves in their own way, which, you know, relates back to that Seven of Swords energy. As I said before, when we have a lot of swords, we have a lot of sense of individuality. Another thing is with sword energy, it definitely deals with a strong analytical ability and understanding of how everything is intertwined and interconnected. So from your neighbors to the school you went to the person you dated, the job you have, the books you read, everything. Sword energy connects to sort of like air sign energy. And the air sign planets are obviously Mercury, Libra, and Saturn. So from a mercurial perspective, then we have someone who is going to be able to understand the full scope of the reality that we live in, and all the hierarchical structures, especially when we have Saturn there. And Saturn has to do with common everyday struggles, And the Venusian side is going to have to do with trying to create fairness and balance. So they see you as somebody relatable. They see you as somebody who strives to treat everyone fairly, as well as they see you as somebody being highly intelligent and educated. So that's another thing. Another thing, when we have the Ten of Cups, people can generally find you very welcoming. That's the normal energy I get for Ten of Cups. Either very welcoming, or it describes a person who's just generally happy or upbeat, or can see the sunny side of things. That's what I get with the Ten of Cups mainly. In terms of personality, that's what the usual suspect is. Or like somebody who's like really good with children, but I don't know if someone likes you if you're really good with children. I don't know. Maybe if they have kids themselves, or maybe if you're dating someone who has kids, or maybe just, I don't know, your kids themselves like that you're good with them. But whatever it is, people will like that about you. It could also mean like you're family oriented, or you treat friends like family. That's another thing that this can possibly mean. I'm trying to think if I'm leaving anything out. Yeah, you just treat everyone with a level of respect, okay? So definitely you're coming from a place of trying to understand someone as the individual. You're saying, okay, a new person's coming to my life. I'm going to see how they act towards me before I can act accordingly, instead of coming with these preconceived notions about people. So that's something that people will definitely admire in you. And if you're in a good position at your work, or if you're in a higher position, people will definitely respect you for it. And they feel like, wow, this person is very professional. This person carries themselves with dignity and pride, and this person is just smart. Okay, they've got this air of respectability about them. So that's something that people will like about you, and they like that you won't you don't have your emotions on your sleeve all the time. Another thing I get with the Queen of Swords and all this swords energy, swords kind of to me represent wit and humor a lot of times when I get a lot of them. So people will probably like that you're witty or very funny, or you have really good comebacks. But that's really the main qualities I get from this reading. Definitely very beautiful soul that you have here. You're coming off very mature to people. You're coming off very wise. People will definitely take your advice to heart if you really want to give that advice and put it out there. And then they can also see you as very spiritually blessed, because that's another quality with this Ten of Cups. But that is all I have for you, pile number 4. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research. And I'll see you next reading. Au revoir. Okay, pile number 5, last but not least. This pile has been giving me so many issues, but let's get into it. We have the 4 of Pentacles. We have the Page of Cups. We have the 6 of Wands. We have the 7 of Cups. We have the 4 of Cups. And we have Venus Love. Wow, okay. So, one thing that really stands out that people really like about you is that you really like forming connections and bonds with others. And there's also a strong sense of maturity. When I was doing a lot of, well, I wasn't doing a lot of research, but they did come up a lot in the research about Venusian people, is that they sort of totally transform when they form these intimate bonds with people. Don't you know how some people, they enter a relationship and for the most part, they stay the same? Venusian people are not like this. Venusian people, when they enter a relationship, their whole personality can do a pretty much 180, okay? They really take on, or maybe I shouldn't say take on, but they really do learn a lot from these strong, intimate interactions with people, or romantic interactions, or even just maybe strong friendships. But they have this propensity to grow when the right person enters their life and sort of rocks their world. Another thing that this Venusian energy does is it really brings about someone who has a strong sense of aesthetics. Not for everyone, but particularly women, it might do this more often, where they may have a particular style of dressing. They may have a certain way they want to decorate their home. They may like a certain quality of footage. They may have a particular way that they like their hair, nail, dress. So something aesthetically that you do or how you present yourself, people really, really like, and it could even be your makeup. Another thing about Venusian energy is they're very hard workers. There's a reason that Saturn is exalted in Libra, the planet of hard work. You'll see a lot of Venusian people be workaholics. If they have some strong Venus energy in their chart, they're probably working a lot. They probably have some partner complaining about, hey, spend time with me, you're working too much. They love getting that coin, making that money, or even just being in a position where they're just successful, where they have that clout to their name, where they're just like, guess what, I own this business, or I have this title, or whatever. They're proud of their accomplishments. And another thing is people may feel like you were very mature for your age. So that's another thing. It brings about a sense of maturity. So with this Four of Pentacles here, you are someone who will hold back, okay? So what I get from this, normally the Four of Pentacles is seen when someone can be a little standoffish, but since these are positive qualities, this is probably saying that you're someone who will not allow the wrong sort of people to push their way into your life. Like if you feel someone has a personality or a trait that is not something you want in your life, then you will not allow them to enter, which makes sense. So you know how to stand your ground and set boundaries. That is one of the positive things about the Four of Pentacles. You're Mr. or Mrs. Boundaries. You're saying, I'm not into that. No, thank you. So definitely someone who will demand respect or to set that line and say, don't cross here. I don't like that. So you have no problem with presenting your boundaries. Page of Cups here. This can also have to do with being very friendly and very sweet and very like, oh, hi, how are you? Like you kind of, this is a card that will go up to people and start talking to them. And if that's not you, then maybe when you're presented with someone and they introduce themselves, you're at least friendly. You're at least going to put on a smile. You're at least going to be polite. You're going to have those niceties, especially with Venus here. Venus is the planet that rules manners. So definitely want to keep up with those manners in social settings, or at least people see you as that in a particular way. And if you're not that way, then what it will imply is that you can come off charming either way. We have two fours. This is so funny. And they're both kind of like this standoff, pull away energy. So maybe you're like hard to reach or even hard to read, and people might like that about you. That does happen because sometimes you can have this air of mystery when you have these two fours coming together. And fours are about stability. So there is a sense of predictability about you that people will like, that you're not like off the charts, off the wall, coming with some new news all the time. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but people will like the fact that there is a little bit of a predictableness about you. They're like, I can expect you to look like this. I can expect you to smell like that. I can expect you to talk about these things, to say these things, to be interested in this thing. They definitely will like those traits about you. It makes them feel comfortable and at home. And another thing, people may find that you just, man, you really are someone who's just not accepting nonsense. You really are that person who's just like, if someone is coming at you with something you don't want, you're like, no thank you, I don't want it. You may even be the type of person, like if you're at a restaurant, if they get your order wrong, you know, some people, they feel a little bit shy about saying things, or they feel awkward about saying, hey, could you like change this? Not you. You're over here looking at that cup and saying, who does this plate belong to? Not me. That's not my order. So definitely someone who stands up who's, I mean, I don't know if that's standing up for yourself, but you're willing to correct others and just say, hey, that's not what I asked for. That's not what I want. So it's definitely saying that you're somebody who just knows what they want, and you're not really letting in other things that just aren't what you want, whether that's people who maybe have qualities that you don't want, maybe you're dating, or maybe in a relationship, somebody's doing certain things that you don't like. You're just like, I'm not feeling that, so I'm not going to engage with that. So very stubborn energy, so people may like that about you. Let's talk about this Six of Wands over here. Love this card. It definitely shows that you are confident. You're shining through. You definitely have your own sense of individuality and doing your own thing. Nothing can stop you. You are on the top of the world. Another thing we have with the Six of Wands is it has to do with leadership. So people may see you as a good leader, or they'll see you as an atypical leader, because this is next to this Four of Cups here. So water and fire together creates this like different energy. It's almost like reading them reversed. So it's like saying that if this is a positive trait, it's saying that you are very confident, but you're not like boasting about yourself all the time. It's a sort of quiet confidence, where you don't feel the need to like brag about certain things that you've accomplished. Not that there's anything that's saying about, anything wrong with not being humble or something like that, but people will see you as a little bit more humble, especially when we have these fours here all like reserved into themselves. So definitely someone, they feel like there's a lot more for you to be bragging about than you actually do. And then with this energy here, it's definitely like so unexpected. Like, I don't know if you're in a leadership position, but this is like saying you would definitely be a very, very unusual leader. You're getting things done, but it's not in the way that people would expect. Okay, they're just like, that's quite interesting that you're doing things that way, but I guess it works. So that's what people see when they're like thinking about things that they like about you. As well as if we read this sort of Four of Cups energy in reverse, then it's kind of like noticing the things that are being offered to you, but saying, I've had it, I'm kind of good. I've had enough of that already. So it's really just a repetition of what I've just already said about just knowing what it is that you want and not really putting up for anything that it is that any offers that you don't feel that is fit for you. With this Seven of Cups here, very, very vivid imagination. You kind of go off in your own little world, and it's interesting because with this Four of Cups kind of being like reversed in a way, or looked at from a different perspective or an angle, then this card is very reflective and they're keeping their ideas to themselves. But something tells me you kind of share your ideas and your thoughts with other people around you, especially with this Page of Cups. And you're not really afraid to put yourself out there and say some like really out of the box things. So people will like that about you. They'll like that you're coming from this place of having this huge imagination or huge thought process or all these wild ideas, and just let loose on what it is that you're trying to say, think of, and feel. Page of Cups just really wears their heart on their sleeve, and they're not there to hide anything. You come off very sweet, and there's this youthful quality about you. You know how kids are, they just kind of just say what they think and they mean, and they're just themselves. Like, there's no sense of awareness. Not saying that you're not aware, but it comes off so refreshing to people to have those to have that sort of innocence like quality to it. I don't even know what to call that in any other way, but it's very disarming. So there's this sense of maybe naivety, or even just being very like willing to just put yourself out there. Sometimes people are really afraid to put themselves out there because they can be very hurt, but they don't see that in you. They're just kind of like, oh, she's just or he is just putting themselves, he, she, or them, I'm not sure how people identify, but they're just putting themselves out there, and that's that. They're just letting, you know, the world judge them for who they are. Another thing I get with Venus, it does represent a lot of bravery, because I've seen them have some opinions and thoughts that go against what certain people may think or certain groups may think. And they're there to point out those hypocrisies. So you would probably be really open to pointing out hypocrisies, and you're not afraid to stand alone and do so. Even if people don't see things from your perspective, you're there to defend your thoughts on the matter. Definitely a lot of feminine energy coming from these cards. You're just definitely a person who will have a lot of creativity within you, okay? Just, they see you as very, very creative. That has to be spoken, and they has to be said. And also, I think what people will like about you with this Seven of Cups energy is that you always have a sense of what if, for the future. Like you always see like this huge, the potential of something. So whether that's people, places, things, thoughts, ideas, they see that you see the full potential of what can be. And with this Venusian energy, because Venusian energy has to be about tangibility, they see you making it happen. Okay, that's something that's needs to be said. So that is what I have for you, pal number 5. Definitely see you as just like a very sweet person, but with strong boundaries and a very vivid imagination, and very like, I don't know, you just come off like enthusiastic and like very cute to people. That's the word that like really popped up, was cute, but I didn't know if that would be offensive to someone, but that's the way kind of people like see you in a way. But yeah, that's what I have. I will see you guys next time. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research, and au revoir.